CS greetings, CS goers. It is WeEatChips and a couple of other people here. We will go live with this video very soon. We'll just give it a couple minutes until you guys have all joined. So we will just talk nonsense for a little bit until we've got a couple guys on the stream, and then we'll get going.
Hell yeah.
Hells yeah.
Hi everyone. Do I start now? Greeting.
No, don't worry. I'll throw to you guys when we're ready to go.
Give me the signal.
Sure. Couple people were early. What is this? Why are people actually waiting for us to broadcast? You'd almost think other people actually like this. It was originally just Prof and I's exercise in masochism. You know, basically how much can we wreck ourselves by doing something that's hard work.
Oh, it was masochism and self-gratuity, wasn't it?
Oh, that too, of course. Self-gratuity and self-flagellation in the same video. Once a week.
You guys are using a lot of big words.
Yeah, we're trying to use some big words, you know. We're trying to alienate our audience before they arrive.
Let's go with that. Let's go with alienating the audience.
So, Mr. WeEatChips, are you still holding your microphone?
Hey. Oh, I'm not. It's on a camera bag now.
Okay, I'm really glad it is.
A nice soft camera bag. Yeah.
Because that was just strange, dude. The fact that you were holding your microphone. Dear viewers who have joined us, when we were doing the audio and video test before, he was holding his microphone. It's a nice big microphone like this, holding it in his hand. I was just like, okay, so this dude is gonna hold.
Similar to this.
Yeah, this dude's gonna hold his microphone for like an hour or an hour and a half, however long this thing ends up being. It would just be crazy. Crazy, I say.
I'd get street cred. Like +1 street cred at least.
Yeah, you'd have a javelin thrower's arm after that. You know, or...
How do you know I don't throw javelin?
Is this a euphemism for some kind of sexual activity that I don't know of since I'm old?
Sounds like it. I'm going to chuck some javelin, eh? Yeah. I'll take it.
Okay, chuck some javelin. We've got a new one, guys. We've learned something new. This is exciting. Cool. Well, we'll get going in a second, guys. Don't worry. I'm going to give it... Well, in fact, I'll give it another 2 more minutes and we'll officially start the show and get going. You can listen to us talking crap for a little bit longer. I mean, I could just play music, but the only music that I really got was some very epic music from Beatles, from the newbie Mega 8 Dota stream, and I just thought it would be a little bit too epic for what we're doing, since it's just us plonkers who have arrived on this video.
You should play everyone a nice guitar riff.
What a guy.
No, not you guys. I was calling us plonkers.
I take offense to that.
You do?
How dare you assume my plonker?
I have seen you play CS:GO, so I feel accurate in that assessment. I feel safe in going that route.
Hey, I've clashed at least a 1v1, so I don't know what you're getting on about.
Hey, NCT, the power is okay this week, so I'm not having to actually run on an inverter and batteries, which was good. The crazy thing last week when we went that way, I actually ended up playing a game of CSGO on batteries, and then the power came back, and I realized I've been playing on this like inverter for like 6 hours while I streamed, and then I started playing CSGO, and there is actually no power, and it's not plugged into anything. I was like, oh my word, this thing is going to like die any second. Why did I click accept on this matchmaking game? It got stupid, because like those things are only rated to last for like 3 or 4 hours, so I pushed mine a little bit towards the edge there. But hey, at least we're relatively on time as opposed to like 20 minutes late, because I had to basically rearrange my entire house to get an 80 kilogram battery array on wheels towards my computer and then like plug everything in. Because it literally has one outlet on it, so it's like just a spider web of like things connected to this one outlet, like cables running over my computer and my desk and everything. It was crazy.
But surely that's a fire hazard.
It was. It really was. Especially at one point, I think I was showing the guys the lamp that I had plugged in, because otherwise I'd be filming in total darkness. And I was pulled the lamp, and then it's like moved all of the cables and stuff, and I was like, it started like pulling on my second monitor, and it was like leaning forward. I was like, oh my word, the monitor's gonna bail. It's gonna hit my glass of water, which is now gonna splash into all of these cables and plug points, and I'm going to die. So it didn't happen.
That's the plot of Final Destination.
Yeah, it really does sound like it. Ooh, autofocus. I'm here, guys. Oh, there we go. Autofocus got really confused. No, you're not late, Ash. Thanks for joining us, bro. We are gonna get going. In fact, I'll just make you feel good about yourself, Ash. We're waiting just for you, and now we'll start. Cool.
Yay.
Official start time. CS greetings, CS goers. It is IX Streams, and this is CS:GO Deeper, sponsored by Aperture PC. We've got Profeci as always with us. How you doing, Prof?
Fun next to yourself, man?
Superb. And we also have WeEatChips, also known as Crash, also known as Ev. How you doing, man?
Guten Tag. I'm doing well, man. Yourself?
Very cool. We got a little bit of German coming out there. Are you Austrian or are you German by?
I'm of Austrian descent.
Oh yeah,
But,
so I got it
I've been
right.
hanging around Germans the last few days. So yeah.
With their horrible, unrefined accents.
The one guy knows like 12 languages, so he's actually really good at English, and it makes me feel bad about my English because he knows proper English and not like bad South African Cape Town English. So
University English.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Ash says he came with chips too. So he was talking about. In fact, him and I were talking about eating chips during this broadcast, and he's made good on his word. Unfortunately, I have not, and I feel rather left out right now. So I'm not going to be able to eat chips while we're doing this. But hey, of course, I'll mention it again. It's CS:GO Deeper, sponsored by Aperture PC. So the thing is, we are going to be giving away some cool stuff during this broadcast. In fact, maybe I'll pull some of said cool stuff up just so you guys can see. But I think you guys might want it, keyboard, headset. Everybody likes
RGB,
those.
bro.
Yeah, true.
G-Max is going to be hunkering for some of the RGB stuff.
Can we call him RGB Max? Do you think? I think it's gotten to that point where it's pretty much appropriate, right?
It wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Of course, I should just sponsor him. I'm just saying.
Did you see that new build that he's got going? It's like he pulls it out, sets it, like takes it out, checks all the cables. He's just like, no, I'm not doing this tonight. It's like that. I'm doing this on Saturday. No,
but
it used okay with that.
It used to be a meme, right? With Corsair, that everything was RGB, right? Like, I mean, if you'd go onto like the PC Master Race Reddit or whatever, then everybody would be making fun of Corsair pretty consistently for RGB. But now everybody's doing it, right? So
yeah.
So
at least it's Corsair, not Razer. Let's be real about this. I mean, if it's Penguin, then Penguin unfortunately does love his Razer stuff excessively.
Yeah, and unhealthily, I'd say almost. But let's have a look at exactly the thing that we're talking about now. When we're talking about RGB Max and all of those sorts of things. RGB to the max, in fact. You can win with CS:GO Deeper, Aperture PC, and Red Dragon. A beautiful headset. It is rather lovely. It looks comfy. And then a lovely RGB keyboard as well. Wrist rest also making it look nice and comfortable. Plenty of macro keys there as well. So it will absolutely sort you out. So we're going to ask a question, well, two questions, in fact, at the end of the show, about what happened last week and about our guest this week. And if you guys can answer us that very question on Twitter, along with a hashtag, which we will give you, you can win yourself some wonderfulness from Red Dragon, courtesy of Aperture PC, only with CS:GO Deeper. So that's going to be coming up later, guys. Feeling good about that. Feeling really good about that. And hello, Linus.
Am I allowed to win?
No.
Oh, dang.
Wrecked. Utterly wrecked. You thought you had a chance, but there was just no chance. I apologize. No, actually, I don't. But I love
Actually,
you.
never apologizes.
This is true. No,
Do
actually,
you?
I say sorry all the time. I'm like, sorry, I shot you while we're playing matchmaking. I'll have shot you by mistake like at least 5 times during the course of a few hours. You guys know.
At least 3 times.
Yeah.
And he's getting close to getting banned, and he stops being aggressive and baits everyone.
I bait everyone excessively because I just want those kills, man. That's all it's about. It's absolutely all it's about. But I mean, just before we get into talking a little bit about what you do, Mr. Everard,
How's it going?
I just want to give you a commendation because I did an 8-hour stream, an impromptu 8-hour stream a couple of Fridays ago. I didn't intend to stream for that long, but it kept, people kept coming and saying, "Hey, can we play on the stream?" And it just continued. You stayed for the entire time. You get a gold star. You are a legend.
Thanks. I'll take it.
He played all of those games for 8 hours. What a nutter. Usually the streamer's the crazy person, right?
Yeah,
I'm the
it's
crazy
usually
sidekick. The guy that jumps off the ledge just to see how high it is so that the hero can succeed.
Wow.
It's
Like
got
what
die, you
cats do.
fan.
Cool. So I mean, I think let's talk a little bit about, before we go into all the news of the week, because I think there's some amazing things to talk about, especially around Epicenter when we talk about recent happenings in CSGO, which Prof and I are really excited to talk about. But let's start with you, Mr. Chippy. Tell us a bit about what you do, man.
I cough on stream. Also,
well done.
Yeah, I make frag movies.
Good frag
I'd
movies.
like to think I'm. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with good. Yeah, I make good frag movies and obviously CSGO, and I'd like to think I'm one of the best in the country. So
I'd say so. Let me actually switch to a little bit of a browser view here so guys can see what your channel looks like. So you guys can see, got the WeEatChips thing going on. Got some really good videos. Play a little video. Turn the audio off because I'm just gonna wreck our stream if I let it play audio. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah, Turbo Killer. I got wrecked for a few days. That was a good time.
Yeah, I mean the style of what you do is really interesting. I mean your edits are also pretty choppy and quick, which I think is a hallmark of your videos. I mean, guys are seeing a little bit of it right now. I mean, just turn on the sound for a second. Oh, and the soundtracks. I like the music choice as well. And I mean with the frag movie, obviously the visual style and the sound that you add to the frag movie all, you know, play a really big part in the viewer enjoyment of it, right?
For sure, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, a frag movie, you get a lot of, I don't want to diss anyone now, but you get a lot of the Facebook frag movie makers that just pretty much put music to their things and just post it on Facebook. But then you get someone like myself or Euphony or Galaxy who actually put some effort into their videos, and it's more of a balancing act to get everything nice.
Yeah, it is almost an art, the same as guys who will write music or you know, draw or something like that. I mean, you are creating a visual story of the frags that happened of a particularly pivotal round or an action in a game, like for instance in Turbo Killer, where it's that energy versus Bravado show match in Metal State, where that one bit where Kenny is standing on top of the on top of that bin behind CT on Mirage, and he jumps and just gets that no scope. Like the way you build to that moment when it happens. I mean, it's all obviously, I didn't play the music there for guys, but the way the music is going in time to the frags, and that bit where you can kind of zoom the camera and it moves around him to sort of focus on this guy's going to do something impressive, and then he goes, and it's all in time with the music. I mean, that's just poetry, man.
Thanks.
You blushing yet?
I don't know, am I?
No, I don't think you are. But I mean, you mentioned guys will just, you know, pop something up on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever with a bit of music. I mean, that's low effort. What kind of effort does it actually take to make the kind of frag movies that you do?
Good lord. Okay, Turbo Killer I think took about 45 hours, close to around 40, low 40 hours. So takes a lot. And then I think the Pac-Man video took way too long because I just kept postponing it because I'm lazy and a procrastinator. So that took about 40 hours as well. Because the song that I actually wanted to use for the Pac-Man video I found out was copyrighted and has been getting strikes all over. So I didn't want to mess with BMI because you all know how BMG.
Yeah.
Anyways, those guys.
Yeah, Sony BMG.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with one of their videos. Oh, hey, there's Euphony in the background, by the way.
Oh.
I don't want to mess with any one of their soundtracks and stuff. So, yeah.
I guess
that's to restart.
I mean, is there anything specific you look for in music when you're prepping for one of these things, or is it just like I should use this song in future?
I actually have a list of songs that would be sick in a video, but then it pretty much just depends how I feel on the day, and then I regret it later, like 2 weeks down the line when I've pumped a bunch of time into it. So yeah, that's pretty much how I'm feeling on the day. Just to put the video
Okay.
or to put the music in. Yeah.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. Sorry, Prof, go for it.
No. I was just gonna say, like, I mean, also, I mean, going back to the music quickly, is that, obviously, like on the day you decide, but do you ever have like consideration that like certain frags would work with X music, or is it just kind of like, I think I should use this music? Like, where does it start? Do you start with the frags first and then make the music fit to that, or is it the music and then the frags?
It's pretty much always the music first, just because like the frags you can slow down and speed up and do kinds of stuff with, but like the music you can't really. It's really hard to cut and like chop music, especially with like ED or not. Maybe not EDM because that's just quite repetitive. But say for drum and bass or rock or whatever, you might. It's really difficult because I mean rock is mostly out of time, but the fact that all the instruments are out of time makes it work. So yeah.
I take exception to that as a guitar player. We are having a couple of issues with the stream. Seems like the YouTube tells me video output is low, and I don't know why that is. So
No.
it might be a little laggy. I do apologize if anybody's experiencing a little lag. It still looks fine to me, but the YouTube analytics are telling me that. So guys, just sound off in chat if it is lagging for you or if you're missing any audio. But it looks fine to me, but of course I can't listen back to it while we're actually doing the show. So again, appreciate you guys being here. And now suddenly it reckons it is healthy. So I don't know. Vodacom destroying itself for a second. I don't know. Okay, well, good. I'm guys in chat are saying that everything's looking good. So, with the frag movies thing, why did you get into it in the first place? I'm assuming it's a pretty thankless task, like pretty much anything anybody does in gaming or esports for a long period of time before you actually start to reach some recognition for it.
Jeez, I can't even remember. I'm trying to think back like why I started doing frag movies. Whoa, that's almost a decade back.
Wow, that really goes back far.
Yeah, I started kind of like recording stuff and doing all kinds of things with Source, like towards the death of Source, pretty much. And then switching to Modern Warfare 3 and doing all kinds of stuff there. But wow, I can't remember. I think I just wanted to be a YouTube star, and I figured this is a decent avenue to go. Whoa.
Go down.
Dude, you're blowing my mind right now. I'm blowing my mind.
You're blowing your own mind. Okay.
Yeah. I think actually no, it started with like animation and stuff, and I figured like doing After Effects and starting kind of Premiere Pro, like getting the basics down, start like kind of learning the skills in high school is probably a good way to, I don't know, start learning the programs at least, and kind of the fundamentals of animation and stuff. And then I actually, just kept doing it and kept getting better, and then did my 2 years at City Varsity, and that's pretty much where we are now.
Well, City Varsity do have some really, really good programs for that sort of thing, animation and audio and that sort of thing. So, I mean, you also strike me as somebody who focuses an inordinate amount on audio for somebody who's very visually focused, because a lot of guys who video people don't know anything about sound, and sound people don't know anything about video. It's interesting. Maybe that's also why your music choice is something that strikes both of us as particularly appropriate the whole time.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, well, I've also done like a lot of film stuff and like cinematography and whatever as well, and learning all about that. And one of my best friend, Chris, shout out to Chris. He always tells me like audio is literally half of your movie. So like if you stuff that up, then like you're gonna have a 50% bad movie. So yeah, audio is literally half of your thing. So never neglect your audio.
It's literally music to my ears as a sound person. I mean, I've always been involved in audio, so it's it's always one of those things that seems to be the neglected red-headed stepchild. No offense. But But yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, that's could you just do us a favor and show us your hipster moustache quickly?
That's terrible.
There we go.
Oh
Oh,
my
one side
word!
skew.
The humanity, it's just awful, man. Hope you guys enjoy. That's I posted the description of WeEatChips' channel posted the link in the description so you guys can see it. For some reason, also the video renamed itself to me streaming as opposed to CS:GO Deeper, so I fixed that as well. But yeah,
Oh no.
can't
Oh,
link it in
yes.
chat, of course, because the auto moderator will wreck it. So it's in the video
Yeah.
description for you guys. So I mean, getting into doing frag movies, of course. I mean, you did it to become a YouTube star. Of course, you're internationally renowned now. Okay, you're not, but you know you'll get there one day with a moustache
Just
like
gotta
Zero
get
that.
that
bites
front
on
page on
message.
Reddit.
Dude,
All it's got to do is
that's
make
the
front page
dream.
Reddit first time.
So
I mean,
yeah, go, bro.
so out of curiosity, right? I mean, you said, I mean, at a stage you were asking if ESL, if anybody had actually done a frag movie of the finals at Rage. Would you do that? I mean, you seemed interested in doing it. So how come you haven't gone down that route? Just out of curiosity.
I've been working on other videos that
Is it?
yes. I've
Playing
been
coy,
lazy,
look
and
at
then
this.
I was sick. I was sick twice in the span of like 3 weeks. So yeah, that was fun. Always being sick. That's yeah.
Well, it's post trade show, sickies basically from touching a gazillion
Yeah.
people and a gazillion things that have been touched by a gazillion people. Rage.
Every time I walk up the escalators, I make sure to stand exactly in the middle, just so that, like, I'm as far away from the handrail germs as possible. Just the escalators up to the media lounge there,
Yeah.
right at the back.
You have no idea how much I love you right now because I do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Germophobic to the max, bro.
It's just
I'm
oh,
G-Max
man.
too, just for another reason.
Gym Max.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's good.
yeah, talking about getting into doing videos and this sort of thing. Let me ask you the super generic question that everybody asks everybody when it comes to anything. How do you help new people get into it?
Ooh. Wow, that's a.
I mean, otherwise,
Watch
if
a
you
lot
were a woman, I would have asked you what it's like to be a woman in gaming. That's the other question. So those are the two most generic questions in all of interviewdom.
You got to be one of the guys, and it's it. I don't know. I don't know what the answer usually is.
I mean, it's where do people need to go to learn how to do this?
There are such an insane amount of resources online, especially on YouTube, just about video editing. And if you want to spend some money and maybe get there a bit quicker, you can go to a college or like a media college, for example. City Varsity, I'm not plugging, I'm just saying, like, I went to City Varsity. So, there's a lot of places like City Varsity after,
That's another
like,
big
you can
one, yeah?
literally major in editing, like, and then like visual effects, you'll probably get a deeper understanding of what I do and probably have more skills and like from what I have, because most of my stuff is self-taught anyways. But then just learning basic cinematography, like it's a lot, it goes a really long way, like the rule of thirds and like knowing like your line of motion, your sight lines and all kinds of things. It's a huge part of learning those skills, and those skills are transferable. Like you probably will be able to get a job in the industry, like editing movies or doing visual effects for someone.
Or doing
Even
OMO
if you want
ads.
to do. Say that again.
Doing OMO ads. And animating
Hey.
the animated washing machine. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, most of the adverts you see on TV nowadays are 3D anyways. So, like, if you know After Effects and you know something like Maya or Blender, I mean, in South Africa, if you want to get a job, you need to learn Maya, but that's either way. So, yeah, it's just, and don't believe what anyone tells you. You can do whatever you want. Talent doesn't exist, and you should just practice really hard.
Good advice
That's
from
my
a
take on
talented
it.
guy.
Hey.
Sorry, I just wrecked you ever so slightly there. I do apologize. Or did I compliment you? I don't know, but I
Either way.
do think you're definitely one of the better guys at what you do. I mean, as you mentioned, Euphony's one of the other guys as well. I mean, also if you look at a guy like Siegel, for instance, who or Easy Studios, he did some edits in the past, but generally does more of the funny stuff now. Also has some talent in that area. I mean, for you, Sean was mentioning it. You got to sometimes maybe show up on the front page of Reddit. And the nice thing for Easy is that Siegel, he managed to get there a few times. So what I will say to you viewers is, if you like what WeEatChips does, go and check a video or two on Reddit, and let's see, maybe somebody grabs it. Of course, sometimes you just got to be right place, right time. A lot of stuff just gets ignored as well. But yeah, give it a go if you like what WeEatChips does. Pop it onto Reddit/Global Offensive, and let's see if the international fans are appreciative of it as well, because I think we definitely are. Your most popular video is Turbo Killer, right?
Correct. That is Turbo Killer, yeah.
Tis Turbo Killer. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, well that's a fun one, of course, and then of course the video with Pac-Man as well, also really good. What should we be looking out for in the coming weeks and months from you?
Well, on the Alpha Stars page, which is like pretty much the video I've dedicated my last week to, that it's literally like it's kind of doing a more narrative-based video, like chronicling their journey to DGC and like the happenings at DGC and what Rage is all about. It's like it's quite like a lot of people. If you haven't been to DGC, you don't understand what it's all about. So it's kind of a nice look into that. And yeah, then other than that, just once that's done, I'll probably be doing like a whole bunch of frag movies. So, but on Alpha Star. So yeah, because
cool.
Alpha Star Edits is like the new thing with me and Jesse, and yeah.
Well, that's cool.
I'm quite excited for that.
Main question I have is Profeci in one of your videos?
Maybe if he gets some frags.
Okay, well that already says that he isn't in one of your videos. So am I in one of your videos?
I don't know. Have you sent me demos?
No, but I did an interview with you at Rage, so I'm kind of feeling like I should be in one of them, because like that would make me want to plug your video way more.
You'll be in one of those for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, just so talking about plugging, let's plug your channel again. The channel, WeEatChips channel, is in the description of the video. Check it out, guys. Definitely go and like his channel. Check out what he's putting out, and of course follow his career with the Alpha Star Edits thing that you also see coming up. And of course, if you like this channel and like this video as well, drop a like at the bottom, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But I think we're all huge fans of CSGO here. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. We wouldn't be making content or frag movies or being content creators in that sense if we weren't. So let's talk a little bit about the CSGO that's happened in the last week. So, Prof, tell us about Epicenter.
Well, I suppose it's the story of VP. The Virtus Pro fans finally have something to cheer about, and Virtus Pro has basically booked every invite to the next 12 months of LAN, so they can go back to being terrible, I guess. But I mean, like, I think VP is obviously the story to talk about, but SK Gaming not too shabby either. I mean, people say it's winning with a stand-in. I don't know. I think Bolt has played with a couple of those players. I mean, it is almost 2 years back, but still, I think he's a good enough player that it wouldn't have been too much of a change for them, especially because he plays a lot more like FNX than he does Phelps, so they must have been used to it at the very least.
Yeah, with the stand-in is the thing, but yeah, I do feel Bolts would have integrated better. It's also, maybe let's talk around that a little bit, just in case people don't know. Obviously, it was Virtus Pro versus SK in the final. And what a final it was! I think it finally eclipsed the VP versus Astralis game, for the final of the E-League major, which was probably the best game of the year so far, in my opinion. I felt this one was a little better, but I know you wouldn't agree because you're an Astralis fanboy.
I don't know. I think that there was a couple of mistakes, especially in that Cobble game, that like made it a little bit worse for me. Like VP just completely fluffing a 4v2 to win the game in overtime was just like, what's going on here? It's like we'll get 3 kills and then just sit and do nothing for the next 30 seconds and just get picked off one by one. That was just a bit illogical.
Yeah, it was a marathon game though. Like, I mean, BO5s, I know from being a caster, I don't always like to cast a BO5 because it really is a marathon, and it also very rarely gets to 5 maps, which is interesting because in a BO3 almost always will it go 3 maps especially in a final, but in a BO5 you often don't find going all 5 maps, and of course there's also those retarded things of having like a 1 map advantage, which kind of wrecks the point of a BO5 in the first place. But
Yeah.
none of that happening, and it actually goes to 5 maps. It goes to double OT on the last map, and OT on double OT as well on the third map train. It really was like there was pretty much drama, and anything that could have happened seemed to happen in that game.
Yeah. What's your feeling there, Crush? I mean, you got a big smile on your face watching that game.
That whole train was just ridiculous back and forth. Yeah, just Fallen just going ham, just pulling SK by the scruff of their neck to victory, kind of, and yeah, I don't know. Fallen's ridiculous. I love Fallen, but also I love VP. So I don't know. I was super conflicted in that whole game because I was like, SK shouldn't be winning, but Fallen's such a good IGL, he can carry his team just with good mid-round calls. So.
But
yeah,
talking about Fallen there though, like he had these amazing highlights where he like saved them a bunch of times, and then on Cobble he nearly lost them the game as well, where he just whiffed a bunch of shots on A long and towards middle, didn't hit anything, and like they ended up being in a pretty bad situation that Bolts dug them out. So it's amazing in that particular BO5 how many highs and lows those players had. Of course, some players had more highs and some players had more lows, but it's just amazing how varied things were in there. One moment it's Snacks is the hero, next moment getting shat on.
Yeah, I mean, Snacks has been the story for most of the year about how bad he's been. I think he was better at Epicenter, but it's still like not great. I don't think he's not the Snacks of old. Like you can see he had a lot more impact than he usually has been having. But I mean, most of Epicenter was just Neo going absolutely ham, Pasha helping out at times until he got to the final. Bialy also had a very, very good tournament. So it seemed more like everybody other than Snacks, and then Snacks stepping up a little bit helped them get to that point. But I think if Snacks had been like he was at the beginning of this year, I think they won that game fairly handily. Like there was a couple of big mistakes that I think Snacks in particular made. Where they just they either pushed aggressively and got caught out, or Snacks would make like a silly mistake where he'd whiff a shot or something like that ended up costing them a round. And especially like just SK's ability to clutch every single situation, I think really turned the game in a lot of cases.
Some of those clutches were nuts. I'm sure you saw some frag movie material there, Mr. Chips.
For sure. Especially, I don't know if you guys saw on Reddit. I actually didn't notice in the stream itself, but Fallen hits one of the hardest B-hops in the entire game, which is from plat on B to the boost spot on B side. And then he ends up killing. Yeah.
On Cobble. Oh, yes. Yeah, that was insane, dude. Like on your own.
So ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, the casters didn't even notice it, so maybe I'll do something like that. We'll see. For sure.
That'd be cool. I mean, the range of what actually happened in that series really sort of dwarfs most finals, probably just because there was so much content in it as well as a BO5. Like the last time I can remember enjoying a BO5 like that was maybe, I think it was ECS finals last year in London, probably was June last year between SK and G2.
G2, yeah.
That was a really good BO5, but generally BO5s tend to be these sort of damp squib things where one team gets a 1 map advantage and the whole thing is over quickly and it's just lame. So it's good to see BO5 working.
Do you also think it given the teams that were at this event, I think that made a big difference because you had a pretty stacked tournament and VP pitched up big time. So I mean, VP was the only team that I think most people were like, don't really know how good VP is going to be at this event, but the rest of them are pretty good. And it turns out like VP just turns on the afterburners and starts wrecking everybody. But I mean, considering if you look at like what is it? I think the top 7 teams according to Well, Thorin called them his top 7 teams in the world, and VP was how he introduced the event. But yeah, I mean, you could see it. Like FaZe had a surprisingly underwhelming tournament, but I think the tournament as a whole, because it was so super stacked with teams that are either doing well or are just naturally good by themselves, I think it made the whole event seem a lot bigger. And I mean, I think that might have been better than some majors. Like, honestly, the level of competition here, you had to like beat some extremely good teams to even get out of groups at times.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I mean, when we spoke about it before, we didn't think VP would come anywhere near to getting anywhere near towards the finals. It's like group stages, and that's it. They're going to get reamed. Literally, they're going to need an analgesic cream after this to be able to sit, basically. So it didn't happen. It's just crazy. I mean, for FaZe, Olafmeister was particularly poor at times. I felt, but in general, they just weren't the dominating force of before. Coming into this event, 15-0 on map wins. Hadn't lost a map in 15 maps. And there we go.
Get
Done.
dumpstered. Yeah, I mean, you could see that, like, coming into the event, they had that game against Tyloo. And Tyloo got a lot more rounds than people expected. And I think maybe that was the first sign of trouble that, like, Tyloo, I mean, okay, admittedly, they've been boot camping, but you still wouldn't expect them to get, I think, 9 rounds each on the games that they played. So maybe that was just the first step in, like, maybe FaZe is not quite as scary as people thought they were.
Are you a FaZe fan, Mr. Chippy?
I'm a Nico fan. I think a lot of people have a little bit of Nico fan in them. Yeah, I just love the way Guardian plays, the fact that he can just hit disgusting shots, and it's a pleasure to watch him when he's on form. Then again, he's not always on form, but yeah. But like Guardian and Nico on the team, like just like these ridiculous players, like Guardian, one of the sickest AWPers ever, and like Nico, one of the sickest one-tappers ever, kind of taking the throne from Scream a little bit, I think. It's just it's a pleasure to watch, and it's not like you can't help but be a fan of FaZe a little bit, just with all the firepower that's on it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those success stories with a lot of star players, and one of the very few success stories of something like that being attempted. Because even in traditional sports, when people try to do that, bring the all-stars together, it very seldom works. So, because generally you need those guys who are willing to do the donkey work, so to speak. And I mean, in FaZe, they've got Kerrigan, who does a lot of that, but it can't always fall to one guy. Sometimes you need a little bit more in the way of supportive elements. So, a lot of people thought when Kiyoshima was out of the team might be actually worse, because now they've literally got one support player who also happens to be the IGL. Is he going to do it all? And everything looked fine, but not so. Yeah.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No. You might have a good point. I don't know. I spoke everyone's ear off just now, so.
No, I mean,
so polite.
For my part, I think this is what I wouldn't say you can expect this from FaZe, but this is the worst they could in theory be. So we've seen their heights, which is like 15-0, but the worst is like not getting out of groups, and that's when things don't go according to form. So it is. I mean, if I'm a FaZe fan, I wouldn't worry entirely, because it's unlikely they're going to be this bad again soon. But this is like a bad day for them, I think. Like a bad tournament is going out in groups, whereas for a team like, Astralis until, say, April of this year, like a bad day was going out in semis type thing. And it's just, I don't think FaZe has that, like, month-to-month consistency that they can constantly be in finals and in semis every single tournament. So if they can figure it out, I think they have a great plan, but they had a lot of weaknesses exposed, especially in the map pool. Like, their cobblestone is just, VP just dumpstered them on cobblestone. I don't even know what that game was. Oh yeah, that was horrible.
I mean, cobble's not hard. Like, hold down the W key and point yourself in the direction of B, and you could probably get a few rounds, But it's,
But
nope, apparently not.
Yeah, that's true.
But also think back to like Vintage Fanatic, when Olofmeister was at his best. It was literally taped his W key down and bought a Tech 9, even if there was an AK available, and killed everyone on B. That's how good he was at the time. And I mean, you could maybe say that the Tech 9 is less good. Do it with the CZ, I don't know, but he seemed to be off his game a little bit here. But something I want to actually highlight, so I'm going to quickly switch over to the browser view here, just to show you guys the very first match of the tournament proper, because of course the FaZe and Tyloo thing, the Vegas Squadron and Liquid were actually on-site qualifiers for the last people in the tournament, which is a bit weird, but it's there. The first actual game was SK versus Virtus Pro, which also happened to be the final, which I think has some quite crazy synchronicities. So let me show you guys a little bit of the scores there, which I think is pretty funny. So I mean, it's 2-0 to SK here. VP did not look good in this game at all. I mean, Fallen had a great game, 1.67 HLTV 2.0 rating, 44 kills across 2 maps. Looking good, plus 27, which just shows you how much of a good time he was having with the AWP. And Taco not in a minus for the first time, like, pretty much ever, because even when they win, he's usually in a minus there. That just shows you how good the overall performance was. And on the other side, Snacks was woeful, 17 kills across 2 maps, which is just insane. 17 for 39.
Yeah.
it's not a great score line. Let's go with that.
And
Good lord.
Neo had not become the one again either, because he's sitting there in the middle as well. But it's just interesting to me, the synchronicity of being in the first game against SK, getting destroyed, and then taking them to double OT in a BO5 final. I mean, the development in the course of a tournament is just insane.
Yeah. I don't know. VP still. I don't even think they know how they turn it around. Like, things just happen. Things really just happen, and then they ride that wave.
Yeah.
So, Mr. VP
Neo
fan,
making some kind of play.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think Neo made a deal with the devil for this? Just like one last tournament.
Give it
I'll
something.
sell you my soul. You can have it. You can have my wife and my unborn child too. But just one more championship trophy. Did you think the devil betrayed him? Yeah.
I think his teammates betrayed him a little bit. He was kind of the spearhead in the pile of poop that was BPF sometimes. But he was like the Fallen when SK is playing bad, like just absolutely reaming the enemy in all kinds of manners. And yeah, like I mean the round that they didn't clutch was almost like Neo just gets 3 kills on drop, and then people are mad at them for like losing a 2v4. Like they wouldn't have been in the 2v4 in the first place. They would have lost the round immediately if Neo didn't get 3 kills, like all at the same time.
I can actually show that
So-
round, because our friends from HLTV do have links to rounds that matter. So shall I pull that
Yeah.
up?
It's right at the bottom. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
like clicking on that button
It was what?
of all the highlights. I was in overtime,
Yeah,
and that was their chance to win.
Neo
So,
secures the round of the triple kill, Neo quad kill. Which one was it?
It's the last possible one. It doesn't start early
Fallen
enough.
win the 2v4. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It's probably going to default to sound, which is maddening usually. So
But yeah, I don't know if it catches the first 3 kills by Neo, but it's literally like Neo gets 3 kills and then Fallen and
no,
I don't know who the other guy was.
It actually doesn't catch them, but it was in drop as well. Like Fur runs out and
Yeah.
drop first, dies instantly, and the next 2 die as well. And then in the clutch, that's where the game is lost. It's just the craziest situation ever, guys.
Yeah.
And like also, if
Crazy.
this was Snacks from January, he probably would have won that. But this isn't Snacks
Yeah.
from January.
Yep.
Very, very
Problem.
unfortunate.
I mean, they gave Fallen an inch, and all he needs is like half an inch to take a round away from you. So
But to illustrate a little
that was
bit of
their first mistake.
Neo's godlikeness, I just want to show this second pistol round as well, which I thought was just insane from Neo. We'll pull this up for you guys.
Which map was it?
Also on Cobble. Generating
that like where he
Clipperino.
like hops through the window and just claps the guy in midair. You like,
Yeah.
what? Like if that happens online, you are like, I don't think there's a human being alive that's not like that guy is straight bullshit.
He's hacking.
Get wrecked, mate.
He's hacking.
That oak is fucking cuck. Lies.
Oh yeah, it doesn't want
No way that guy's legit.
doesn't want to show the clip, guys. It's just saying generating Clipperino. How sad is that? We're not going to get the clip.
Fail boat.
Well,
That's what you are.
that is a fail, huh? Well, let's show another Neo highlight then from Mirage quickly. We'll pull this one out.
Just show like the Vera Frag movie. It's got so many sick Neo players. And
I don't
Snacks
know,
as well, getting like a 3K on Amen.
But that pistol round was like the ultimate rendition of complete bullshit. Like Neo is the one, you know, worship at his feet sort of thing, and it just doesn't want to show it. I watched it earlier. HLTV. No, it's actually Twitch that's letting us down here, but clip's a little longer than I was expecting. Mirage, I mean, was one of the, I'd say probably one of the less exciting ones just overall in the BO5. I kind of feel like the last three maps were like the essential viewing. If you don't have, 6 hours to watch CS:GO, then watch the last three. Train, was it Train, Cobble? What was the fourth one? Cash, sorry. Those were really like essential viewing if you want to see some crazy stuff. But I think the thing we need to just point out here is those player ratings. I mean, you guys saw the first match, which was SK Virtus Pro in group stages, and here we got SK Virtus Pro in the final. Neo with a 1.16 rating, ADR of 91.2, which is the highest in the series. So it just shows you how much work the old dog was doing there. It's just insanity.
Yeah, he did. He really turned it around after like a pretty terrible first performance of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Cold Zero, as efficient as always, doing his thing like he always does, and I mean, you can almost set your watch by it. Okay, the match is over. Ding, HLTV notification, MVP of the tournament. That's assuming they got into the tournament, deep into the tournament. The guy is a machine. Yeah,
I mean, at this stage, some people think he's probably on course to be the greatest player of all time.
At 23 years old.
2 years of absolute dominance, ultra carries, 2 majors, pretty solid at the rest. I think that's, he's certainly building a case for himself.
Absolutely. I mean, you just also look at his overall statistics, sitting at a 1.22 rating for career, which is just insane as well. Because I mean, there's a lot of players who have crazy highs. You think of a guy like Flusher, for instance, who up until recently was the highest rated player of all time at majors. He has these like crazy over performances at majors, and the rest of the time is a little bit less good. So his rating isn't like that. Cold Zero, it doesn't seem to matter what the tournament is.
Yeah. And things Cold Zero like performs pretty much every game. Plush was crazy in big games, but not otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. It's crazy. Crush, what do you think? Cold Zero best player ever?
I think overall best player, yeah, but I think maybe Nico, maybe on the aim wise, but overall game sense, just general performance, for sure, Cold Zero is the best player.
Okay.
Like, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean the numbers don't lie, but also when you watch what he does on a server, because a lot of people go like, okay, stats don't always matter. Sometimes it's about what the player does on the server, usually to justify somebody who's shit. Basically, let's be honest. But that being said, there are certain roles like entry fraggers in certain teams. You look at like an MSL, for instance, in North, who'll run in first and invariably die. So he's less skilled, so he's going to do that to sacrifice for his team. Yes, he will take a dip. Cold Zero, on the other hand, I mean it doesn't seem to matter. He has the impact on the server. He has the impact on the scoreboard. It's just not a lot more you can ask from a player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
He pretty much can do it all as well. I mean, SK in general, I think this is a much better looking SK than the Phelps SK.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Phelps SK always like relied on a crazy amount of firepower, and when it went off, it looked fantastic. And we, especially during that early part of the year, that I think was what the 6 tournament run where they were like in the finals 5 times and I think won 4. Like that's the kind of thing that SK could get to, and you could just see like after the major, like there was clearly something off. Like either the players weren't vibing well, or they just didn't trust each other or something. I mean, it's now come to the point where apparently Phelps is asked to leave.
Hashtag marketing.
It's we hear a lot of these things, like because I mean, apparently Rubinho, remember, he apparently asked to leave.
Yeah, I want to leave
Dignitas
the
before they
second
became North, which is like
most like the second best Danish team. Yeah, I would like to leave so that I can go play in a crappy team with Fox.
Yeah, makes sense.
Whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that at the moment, I think SK probably, if they can keep this going, is probably the best team in the world. Like I think they have more. There's more reason to think they'll be as like more consistent than FaZe. But if FaZe has, like if FaZe is firing, I think they can take out SK pretty easily in terms of just flat aim ability.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we mentioned a little bit of North. They were super disappointing at this tournament. I feel, considering just how good they looked at early stages, and Config didn't show up when they sort of needed him most. He still showed up, of course, but the backup just wasn't there.
Well, he showed up in the first games, and then he decided to chirp G2 and got wrecked.
Yes.
Got wrecked hard.
Got wrecked hard. Are you a Config fan, Mr. Chips?
I don't know. He's a bit of a loose cannon sometimes, but when he does fire, he fires definitely goes off. So yeah, I don't know. I like watching flashy players.
He's the best marketing for CS, man. Like somebody who says things like that in interviews and on social media. Gotta love it.
No, it's fun. It's fun when it yeah, that's fun. I enjoy it. I think more of that needs to come out in CS, and it's a bit. I don't like the whole family show vibe that a lot of tournament organizers have. So the fact that Config decides to kind of even go past that and tell the tournament organizers, screw away, like I don't care.
It makes you watch. I mean, it makes you watch if you want to see that guy, get egg on his face.
So yeah, I think that's maybe something that people often don't realize. Like even with a Thorin type character, like oftentimes on broadcasts, as casters or analysts actually play a role. Like sometimes you are going to literally play the role of the bad guy, so that people hate you and will like want you to get wrecked in your prediction or whatever. Like that's what that guy does, and like very few players understand that it's this entertainment factor. So then can apply it to their own public persona, because you can go like, well, I'm going to be the bad guy here. Screw everybody. I'm going to I'm going to say things about other teams. I'm going to be this. Not Config is being himself, but if you're a player who really wants like publicity, you could be pretty smart by going this sort of route as well. Because of course, even if people don't like you, people want to see you fail, so they're still watching. So
yeah.
It's something that's often not realized. That I think we need a local player like that. We need somebody who's going to go that route. Kenny sometimes does that in interviews. Like he was pretty cheeky at ESL Africa a couple times.
Yeah, he definitely was there.
Facetious.
He had some fire comments there. Let's be real. So, I mean, the things we do need more of that. We do need more personality in the players, because everybody wants to be like super nice to everybody else, and it's like, yeah, but I mean, we all know behind the scene that you think that guy's trash. So let's just say it. Just say it, and like, I mean, sure, sometimes you're gonna fail, but if you're good enough to pull it off, then you look like a baller as well. So, I mean, either way, it gets more eyes on the product. It makes you look more crazy. I mean, I suppose guys don't really want to burn bridges in SA, but I think if people know that's how you are, I can't see them complaining too much, type thing. So,
Well, flat out honesty seems to have worked okay for me, so we'll see how it goes. Although sometimes these days I'll stay away from a topic or two just to avoid ye old brown arm. But we shall see. So we got a question in the chat from Simplicity. I think I'll pose it to you, Mr. Chips. Best pistol player for you between Snacks and Dennis. Simplicity reckons it's Snacks. Do you think that's justified considering recent sort of form for both of these players?
I think Snacks. I'll take Snacks.
Still Snacks, just because of the VP fanboyism, huh?
Yeah. No, he's I don't know, like again, like you never know if he's gonna perform, and like obviously you have some kind of idea. Well, my Tamagotchi is going crazy. Like you never really know if he's gonna perform, and it's fun to watch him because when he does perform, it's this insane, like going back, I can't remember which tournament it was, but he gets a 4K like 1v4 clutch and cobblestone B scythe.
ESL1 New York.
ESL New
Yeah.
2016.
It's the Big Apple and Snacks is hungry.
That was yeah.
I'd have told Navi fans, just say those words.
Guardian, bye-bye. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much
all the Seneca sound bites.
Someone should make a soundboard. I commission one of the people in chat to make a Seneca soundboard. Let's go.
We heard that like clip so many times during 2 seasons of ESL Africa because it was one of the like bits of filler content and like halftime and stuff. It was just like, oh my gosh, it's the Big Apple and Snacks is hungry.
Yeah,
shut up.
Our graphic designer ended up like if you mentioned like Guardian bye anywhere near me, he was liable to punch you. He's not a fan of that clip by the end.
Yeah, sometimes even as good as something may be, sometimes it'll wear a little bit thin on the nerves if you see it too many times. But I mean, coming back to the original question there from Simplicity, the best pistol player between Snacks and Dennis, I think that's a very applicable question maybe a year and a half ago. Like both of those players were at the height of their powers sort of thing, and you give them a pistol, they're going to kill for like 3 or 4 people pretty consistently. The problem is recently we haven't seen a ton of Dennis because of where he is in God sent purgatory, so to speak, so you don't get to see a lot of it. And Snacks has just not been at his personal level, even in the fact that they made the final. He really wasn't at the level that he was even at the beginning of this year. Because I mean, at the beginning of this year, he was the reason Virtus Pro were in the final of the E-League Major. You know, him alone. It didn't have anything to do with anybody else. Pasha was playing badly. Bialy had a bad run of form at the time as well. And Snacks Taz and Neo were just there. It really was Snacks getting them there, and like he's been so far from that point for a while. I think if it comes to like current pistol gods, that's maybe a little bit of a harder one to maybe crack. I mean, Nico is tremendously good with the Deagle, but doesn't always seem to be at that level with the Glock. With the USP, he's insane though. Like, I mean, that guy. I would lean towards Nico, but at the same time, Rain also one of those guys I've seen do amazing things. It's just not this tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. He dropped off big time, did Rain, which I think is also another part of the problem. But
no problem there.
Yeah, I mean, talking pistols, it also depends. Like, if you looked at just Snacks and Dennis as pistol players, Snacks rarely had that like stupidly crisp aim type thing. You know, like he was more about outplaying the guy and then shooting you, whereas Dennis would just like one tap you as you walked in, like tap tap tap. There's a famous clip on Cash where he just aces the enemy team right as like the caster's like, oh, like Dennis is really good on pistol. It's like click 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 click, 5 players dead. Just like, okay, that's pretty ridiculous.
5 shots fired,
yeah.
5 kills.
I mean, the thing is, like, since that Fnatic split, he hasn't been anywhere near that level consistently. So, I mean, he might get a couple of pistol highlights, but in general, I don't think that's enough to say he's a better player than Snacks. And I'd still say Snacks is a better pistol player in general because he's going to give you more. Like, sure, hitting nutty shots is nice, but it's the ability to think a little bit further, I think, which makes Snacks a bit more valuable.
True that, indeed. Hey Astro, thanks for tuning in. Rian as well. Rian asks, who's the sexiest cosplayer in SA, and I'm not going to answer that. We're not going anywhere near that. But Astro,
Yeah,
you're not too
that's-
late. So in case you guys can't read, this is CSGO Deep is sponsored by Aperture VC, and of course you can win some nice stuff, which we will talk about very shortly. So do remember, and of course the description for WeEatChips, this channel is in the link is in the description below, so you can check that out as well. And of course, if you're enjoying this, like it, subscribe, do all of those amazing things. I never do enough of that, and Gmax has severely chastened me for never telling people to like videos. I just kind of go about my business and let people do their thing. But I'm going to do more of that unless you people feel that this is suddenly out of character for me. So we shall see. So let's talk a little bit more about Ep8 and kind of where maybe want to go with this as well is more on that bolts conversation, because at the death of that game versus VP in the best of 5 final, bolts gets a 4K, and that just basically seems to deflate VP, because from that point the next couple of rounds VP lose silly situations and the game goes away. Bolts was really quiet for the first 2 maps, maybe even the first 3 maps if you really want to look at it, and then ends up at the end the second highest rated player of the series. So I mean, the guy is just slotted in there. He does look like a really sick kid in the sense of he should be wheeling around with an IV or something. He's super pale and huge bags under his eyes. 20 years old, doesn't look healthy, but he's certainly healthy on the server, and I think his style really fits SK very well. I mean, Chips, do you feel he's the answer? Phelps is a super aggressive player, Bolts is a lot more passive. More like FNX in that way.
I think with that passiveness comes a lot less mistakes and a lot. So yeah, Phelps would probably make a lot more mistakes, just because of his aggressive nature. It's kind of the nature of the game. If you're pushing for information and trying to get a few kills along the way, maybe you're not going to succeed most of the time, but when you do, it'll pay off a lot better. But chances are, just playing the percentage game, if you're playing slightly more passive, then you probably do a little better. So maybe that is the answer for SK.
Yeah, throw something at whoever's moving around in your office there.
It's Jesse brought me chips.
Oh my word, we eat chips, eating chips on the stream.
Yeah.
What is this? I love this. It's like open a tear in the space-time continuum just because those 2 things are happening at once on a live broadcast.
It's canon now, guys. It's canon. See, I do eat chips. Yeah. It's in the story.
Love it.
Can't retcon that shit.
No, you can't. So, Prof Bolts, is he the guy?
I think he fits the team better. I think, like Chips mentioned, it is the problem with Phelps is that if he pushes and he gets wrecked, I think it created a lot of problems, and especially against a team like Astralis, who basically wait for you to make a mistake and then capitalize. It becomes very, very difficult if that constantly is happening. And also the problem is that I think they just had too many playmakers on their team. Because Cold's not really a playmaker in that sense, but he can do the work. But then you have Fur, who's uber aggressive. You have Fallen, who wants to do this stuff, and then you add an extra into Phelps. I just think it's it's too much. If you think about it in Dota terms, it's you only have X amount of gold to split between your players, right? So if you have 2 guys that are super farmed and the other 3, the third one is decently farmed, can do a little bit, and the last 2 are just really supporting. It's a lot more balanced than if everybody tries to get farm. And I think that was the problem with SK, is that much like FaZe, they were 4 crazy players and Taco, and Taco's expected to do everything. And it when it worked fantastically. But as soon as that stops working, you get to that stage where it's very, very difficult to function as a team. It's Fallen wants to go crazy, okay? Fallen wants to be aggressive, but you can't be aggressive in 2 parts of the map, because if Fallen dies, who's now rotating in? Because then it's possible Fur and Phelps have pushed down or pushed an area, and it's okay, well, now for them to rotate back to the other side, but if Fallen's gone down, it's a lot longer, so the enemy can get into better positions, then you can start exploiting their rotations, and that's just the issue that I think with Bolts, because he can function by himself, he's not going to, unnecessarily take up resources, and he's a lot more clutch than somebody like Phelps, despite being, less skilled. I think Bolts, the team is more balanced with with Bolts, and as a result, they're not as sink or swim as they would be with Phelps. I don't think the team is worse, but it's different, if I can summarize it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I probably would have gone in a similar way. Maybe I would have used the JW example. You can't have two of those on one team. That's like having two furs, essentially.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. That scenario you just mentioned as well, can you imagine 3 players instantly die while pushing, and then there's a...
I mean, there's the famous DreamHack Malmo clip where they, in what is it, like a 5v4, 5v3 up or something, 13-6 on Inferno against G2, and Phelps and Fur do that like crazy rush down banana, and this is like, okay, kill them both, sweet boys, we got a sight, and then all of a sudden GT just wrecks in the rest of the map. It's like my brain is hurting. What is going on? Like, who told them to push at that point? Why? And it's things like that just don't make logical sense. But that is the problem, is that, I mean, you saw it at Epicenter, is that when Fur played against FaZe on Overpass, he just constantly pushes the middle area, right? And every time he's getting a kill. The problem is that when that doesn't work, he's a liability. When you add 2 of those players and neither of them are working, it becomes a massive, massive drain on your team, because if it's not working, okay, well, now we're going to constantly be rotating guys to the other side, which means both sides are weakened, which means that teams like Astralis, like FaZe, can exploit that because they know they're in a man-up situation, or they know that you don't have as much utility. You're constantly having to buy because your players don't have money, and they can exploit that all the way to a victory. And I think with Bolts, it just makes it a little bit safer. It's a safer style for SK.
Yeah, makes absolute sense there. So I think that's plenty for Epicenter. There's also other things we can talk about too, like we can mourn Astralis and G2 failing after looking good early on. That was also maybe a thing there. North also not really getting any. Even Gambit looked good in the first game, and then from there it just seemed to go south a little bit. Liquid also.
Was that Gambit being good, or was that FaZe being weak?
I think probably a little bit of both, but FaZe definitely overall a weak tournament for them. Liquid, I mean, they probably finished where they should have in this field, despite their sort of recent resurgence. Are you a Liquid fan there? I see a little bit of a smile there.
I'm more of a JDM fan. I don't know really about the... Oh, yeah. I just enjoy his style. That's the crazy, screw it, let's go for the play. I got to up, but whatever, it's fine. I won't save. It's fine. But let's get a 4K and win the round, and then we'll get an ace, the ace clutch against Envy. Well, I'm sure a lot of people remember that one on Cash in the middle garage area, where you just or not hunts, but Envy hunts and then makes a bunch of mistakes, and
he wins
he
one.
Gets an ace. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it pushes it to overtime, and Envy barely wins that map. So, yeah, that was fun. He's just a flashy player, and I really enjoy the flashy players because it makes for good fag movies. So, yeah.
Oh, now we're seeing some priorities, yeah. But the problem with that kind of player, though, is it almost feels like Team Liquid live or die based on individual player performance. And Elysia's always good. Twists is sort of 70% good, and then it's JDM sometimes not. And it kind of feels like the only possibility to win against the top teams is to have JDM show up. And they had that a bit, when they've had a pretty good run of tournaments recently. But here, I just don't think that's enough. And it was quite funny yesterday, or last night, South African time, and this morning or whatever, I saw Stanislaw actually changing his name on Twitter to screw it, I'm out. So I'm just wondering whether or not something has gone awry there. I mean, I was checking Reddit today to see if anything had actually happened, but it could also just be a joke or something. But I mean, if you look at it, though, he is probably the weakest link in the team, considering he isn't the IGL anymore.
He's like a lurker or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the lurker who doesn't kill anything. He tells them where they are, and when he tries to shoot at them, he dies. Basically, there's a bunch of clips. I mean, look at
$1,000 decoy.
ESG Mykonos. There was got some dogs going on there, but there was a bunch of situations where he managed to get like all the way behind Mouse Sports, and you can see he's got like 3 players at his mercy, and then he like fluffs the first shot and just dies. It's like, okay. Anyway, let's see how Liquid do in coming tournaments. But yeah, I think they're definitely a team that've been on the up, but they probably need to make a change or two, honestly, in my opinion, to like really consistently compete.
Yeah.
So I mean, Astralis kind of like, for me, the finish for them was pretty expected. Like I didn't feel that it was within their powers at the moment to potentially win it. I was kind of thinking FaZe should take the tournament when you looked at it on paper, and you look at Astralis and go, well, they're lacking a little bit of some of that star power that FaZe have lately. They're going to be consistent. They'll make the semifinals and no better. They did it, but it wasn't because of FaZe.
Yeah, I don't know. Astralis is one of those weird teams where, like, I think their run to E-League finals was a bit overhyped. Because if you look at the teams that they beat, I mean, they stomped Fnatic. And then they played Cloud9, who beat a fairly lackluster G2. So, like, I mean, when people say that I'm an Astralis fanboy, I still think that, like, they're not even close to as good as they were at the beginning of this year. Like, I think, as you say, I think that semifinals is probably what you're expecting from them. I mean, they had chances to win against SK, but I can't see them actually. I wouldn't put them as, like, it's not a 50-50 to beat SK by any means. I think that you'd reasonably put FaZe over them right now. You'd put SK over them. North just seems to have some crazy, like, mental block when playing Astralis. They just get stomped every time they play them. And I think G2 on a good day could probably stomp Astralis. So I think Astralis is definitely top 4. They'll consistently make top 4. That's how the whole system works. But I don't think they're going to be winning tournaments very consistently at all. And I just don't think they're going to be winning. They probably won't win a tournament before next year at the earliest. And they'll probably make a change sometime around the major or after.
Minus Kirby plus config.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, you said it.
That's what everybody says.
That would actually be sick, because they would. I mean, Kirby hasn't been at that level of E-League Major for quite a while, so I think that would be a big plus for them. I mean, G2, talking about frag movies and the kinds of players that make for that. I mean, we have Apex also makes for memes and frag movies, which is great. Gotta love that. Oh, yes.
Oh, my baguette, no.
Mon Dieu, sacre bleu. You know, whatever you want to insert there. But, I mean, G2 looked absolutely, like, they just looked on fire in the early stages of the tournament, and it kind of felt to me like they shat the bed a little bit against VP. Was it VP being better, do you think, Chips, or was it G2 also maybe showing a little bit of mental frailty there?
I think they maybe both had no idea what was going on, so there was no real anti-stratting. They couldn't predict what, like, the age-old military, the US military thing. If we didn't know what we're doing, they wouldn't know what we're doing. So
that
there was a little
perfectly
bit
describes
of
G2. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's from pretty much both sides, and yeah, like somehow VP won. It was through sheer luck. It was lucky rabbit's feet or something, or lucky vodka bottles or something. I don't know what did they have in Poland.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Poland. It was in St. Petersburg, so it's definitely vodka. I mean, talking about St. Petersburg, Anders also put out a tweet after he'd done the marathon best of 5 final casting with Moses. You know, that Russia has got many great things about it, but pizza's not one of them. I thought that was, you know, like,
yeah, because they somehow ruined a pizza. That's just mind blowing.
That's tough.
Well, I mean, Yeah, Romans can do that too, I've heard. So, but yeah,
Sure.
we won't go there.
Any potential sponsors, bro?
Burning potential sponsors. Of course, I don't actually eat any pizza because I live a sad life. But you know, but
Pizza, life without pizza isn't life, dude.
I know.
know.
Barely existing, yeah. Hey. So what's the next big tournament? Sean Portier is asking. And that's Star Ladder. That's coming up. Yes.
It depends on if you call it a big tournament, because the only team worth calling vaguely top level there, well, there's two. There's VP and there's Heroic. Outside of that, not really. So, yeah, I am Oakland in the middle of the month, November, and then Blast Pro Series at the end of the month, which also looks mega stacked
Yeah.
outside of NIP, because they're just shite.
Can you say conflict of interest when it comes to tournaments? We had Epicenter, which is involved with ES Force, and of course the two teams in the final, both majority owned by ES Force, which is hilarious. And then, of course, Navi wasn't there because they didn't qualify, getting wrecked by Vegas Squadron. And then we've got Blast Pro Series, where we've got a couple of Danish teams that are owned by Refresh, who also own Blast Pro Series.
I don't think North's not owned by Refresh.
No, it's Heroic and Astralis.
Yeah,
and
but Heroic's not at Blast Pro Series.
I thought they were. Okay.
No, they're not. They got invited to the qualifiers but didn't make it through, I'm pretty certain. Yeah.
No, they didn't make it. Okay, they're usually such tremendous onliners that always make it to these sorts of tournaments. So anyway, we won't go there, onliners. Well, maybe we will. Let's see. The Starladder Invitational, I mean, there's not really anybody of substance there except for the aforementioned onliners, Heroic and Virtus Pro. Renegades are there too, and I mean, Renegades wrecked Virtus Pro last time on land, but I don't see it happening again. Tyloo are there. They're okay. Hellraisers are okay. But Virtus Pro's tournament to lose, that should be money in the bank. So, which means probably that Heroic are going to win the tournament because that's how VP operates.
Probably, yeah. It's usually how it goes.
Do you mean money in the bank for ES Force back team, or are we not entertaining conspiracy theories now?
Starladder don't have those links.
This is one of those situations, right? So everybody knows the stories about how Navi wanted to get Angel from Hellraisers and Electronic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the story goes, guys. So, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys actually know Angel and like how good he is. The story is that Hellraisers wanted 400,000 US for Angel.
That's a lot of money.
That's eco level money, ladies and gents. 400,000 US for Angel. Because Navi is not, like, Navi is an ES Force team and Hellraisers is not. Hellraisers is connected with Starladder in some way. I forget exactly like who owns what there, but that is literally just like a big get wrecked, mate, in political terms.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's...
I know.
But I mean, if they wanted to, they could. ES Force would just be like, if they wanted him that bad, then they would have bought him.
Apparently, they have gone that route. It looks like we lost Profeci Cam there for a second as well. But I mean,
he's back.
Apparently, they are taking Electronic, so they are coughing up the money, I guess. Maybe forcing Taz to return his Mercedes G-Class or whatever it was. You know, trade it back in and get a little bit of $50,000 back in the kitty for Electronic. I don't know, but I mean, jokes aside though, Starladder does not look tremendously exciting, and VP's or that stash looks tremendously exciting, I will say. But VP's history is they go to the tournament that is easy that they should win, and they do not. The only time I can think of in the last sort of 4 years that they won a tournament that they really should have that was easy was SIVO in 2015. WESG, they should have won it. Envious won it. Are you kidding? Envious for Sixer. Come on. And Devil. Anyway, I'm going to stop getting angry about how stupid that was. But it's like VP do not win the tournaments that they should. So I think it's VP's tournament to lose. They should win it based on their current form. But I just can't back it. It's got to be like some random winner like Tyloo or Heroic or something.
Yeah.
I hope Tyloo wins. To be honest,
I just want to see Tyloo do well, because we've seen them. I mean, they've qualified now to the major. They did well at the minor online. So I'd just love to see them against top level teams, because I mean they played FaZe, and that the FaZe is always going to be a bit of a nightmare matchup for them. But I think that by and large they should do better. We'll see them at Star Ladder, so if they make top 4, I think that's decent. If they make the final, I think it's fantastic. I think their odds on to make top 4, but it really is going to depend on whether they pitch up, because they've had some abomination games. But I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
Renegades to win it easy. Nifty being nifty.
You heard it here first, kids.
It's not gonna happen. It's really not gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm not super excited for this tournament. Like Epicenter, I watched everything I could possibly watch, even when I was out. I was on my phone trying, 4G data, trying to watch these games, because it was just so lit. The format of Epicenter, I think, also made it incredible. The fact that there was BO3s the whole way. More of that, please, tournament organizers. It's not always possible with 16 teams. At the 8 teams it was, and of course they had the 6 stage with sandbags and props and stuff going on too. So great tournament overall. Talking about tournaments, South Africa, only thing going on right now is ESEA. And OCS, I think the qualification, everything is done, so that's supposed to happen in January. We'll find out at some point, because I mean, you and I, Prof, have both been spoken to them about working on the event. So I guess we'll find out some more closer to the time. As for ESEA, we will be casting some ESEA tomorrow night, myself and Prof. It has been decided, and I think I'm doing quite a bit of streaming now, guys. I mean, you guys have seen I've streamed a little bit more games and stuff. I mean, last week I was a little lazy, but as these things do, they come and go. But I'd like to do a little bit more casting, also with guys who don't necessarily always cast too much. So tomorrow, for you guys to check out, it will be myself and Profeci. I'll actually be doing play-by-play, which is something I don't do. I'm an analyst, so you'll get to hear me going, sick 4K, guys. No, I won't do that. But tomorrow we do have some action coming. I'm just trying to check if the time has been adjusted at all. It's probably going to be for 8 o'clock.
If you do the entire cast in radio voice, I'll I don't know. I'll do something, but please do. That's what I'm saying.
Please welcome the entire cast in radio voice. Incoming. Do you guys like radio voice? I mean, sure.
No, it's terrible.
You don't? Okay. I just got wrecked, and I was telling people about something I was personally excited about, Prof, and you just wrecked me. So, I think let me just double check. Sorry, I should have checked this before we went live, but the problem is teams on ESEA do change the time frequently, which sometimes wrecks one a little bit. But yeah, we'll cast a game probably tomorrow, and just see how that goes, so you guys can check it out. I'll announce which one it is as well. We'll announce the time, and check out our Twitter. I'll also be doing a cast on Thursday with SLP, Shane Pfeiffer, who's a newer caster as well. Gonna work with him, see how it goes with him. That's gonna be Goliath Gaming versus Energy Finesse. Just waiting on confirmation for that. And of course, because it's CSEA, these things I'm telling you about might or might not happen, because sometimes teams bug out at the last minute. So we'll see. And then Sunday, I'm going to be doing some casting with Anthrax as well. We'll probably do 2 maps at least on Sunday. I think there's a big 5 energy game there as well on Sunday. Probably quickly check that. What is it? Yeah, Big 5 energy on Sunday. So that's going to be pretty fun. Always love casting with Barry, and there's also some Goliath games, Big 5 Bravado on Sunday as well. So yeah, there's some nice games coming up Sunday, so we'll be doing that. So definitely look out for that. You'll get to hear Prof casting with somebody who's not Pakistani for the first time in a while in CSGO. So
Sure.
Reference game, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, it has come to the point now where I think we need to tell people what they should do to win cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves free things.
Everyone loves free things. Okay, so let's just show these free things yet again. It is a headset from Red Dragon, and it is a keyboard from Red Dragon. So for you guys to have a chance to win either of these wonderful things with CSGO Deeper, sponsored by Aperture PC and courtesy of Red Dragon, which is obviously distributed by Syntech. So wonderful people there from Syntech. Love you guys. What you're going to have to do is answer two very easy questions. So hopefully you watched last week as well. You're going to tweet this at Xstreams and at Profeci with the hashtag CSGO Deeper. So that's going to make it easy for you. I'm not going to tell you to hashtag Red Dragon because everybody's going to spell it wrong. Doesn't have two D's in it, guys. So you can see, yeah, hashtag CSGO Deeper. I'm showing you exactly what it is in words so that you don't get this wrong, guys. On the browser, you can't get it wrong. It's hashtag CSGO Deeper. So tweet at Profeci and at Xstreams, hashtag CSGO Deeper, the answer to these two questions. What is WeEatChips' most successful video? Don't answer that. And what event was that video from? Because, of course, we had Anthrax on last week. So what event or match or whatever it was that from? And you've got to be quite specific here. So please do be specific. So again, to win the Red Dragon peripherals, which is a headset, which is a wonderful keyboard, it's got lights and everything. GMAX would absolutely be envious of you. There it is on screen right now. Tweet at Profeci and at Xstreams with the hashtag CSGO Deeper the answer to the question of what is WeEatChips' most popular video and what event was that video or match was that video about. Got it. Have you guys got it? Okay. I really do hope so. So guys, definitely tweet.
Questions?
What?
Yeah, I see there's a couple of questions in chat.
Oh, there are.
Did we comment on Smithers?
No
my
comment.
feeling on my feeling on this is if he's going to be dodging lands for this many years, he shouldn't be allowed in online leagues. Simple. That's it.
I think that's a good thought. My motivation in tweeting about it actually is not to wreck the guy or accuse him of being a cheater either. From my side, I get a little frustrated that people continually point to this guy. If he's dodgy, then do something about it. Whether it's for dodging LAN or whether it's for being a cheater or whatever you think he is, if you're going to meme about him, instead of complaining, do something about it. Like, I mean, that's pretty much where I see it. So, like, it was almost intended maybe to just make people upset. Just like, oh, like, screw this Xstreams guy. Why is he calling this guy a cheater? It's like, I just want somebody to do something about it. Because, like, if I have to hear anything about this oak again, like, I'm just over it. I've had enough of it. I mean, going back a few years, I remember this guy being spoken about in the same way. It just doesn't make sense anymore that it's still coming up. Like, people like to imply he must be cheating. That's why he's dodging the LAN or whatever. Well, if he is, find a clip and send it to OCS or to ESEA or whatever tournament he is in so that he's not allowed to be there. And if he isn't a cheater, which a lot of people tell me he's not, and he's not coming to LANs and it's a systemic thing, then complain to the tournament organizers, because memeing about it's not going to fix it. That's really my thoughts on it. So don't just meme about it on the internet. Actually do something about it. And if you don't do anything about it, you don't really get to complain about it. You just get to get wrecked by him online. So, although I must say I have casted, I think, one game with him in before. I think it was a Medal State game, if I remember correctly. And he didn't do that well. And it was online. So, I don't know. Who knows? Conspiracy theory fell flat completely. But if you do log on,
maybe he's just a land dodger.
I don't know. I mean, there's also the other scenario. Maybe he's like incredibly socially awkward or has a horribly infectious disease and can't appear in front of other people. We just don't know because nobody seems to know him in that way. So I don't know. But whatever the case is, you know, it needs to stop. The land dodging needs to stop, and the allegations need to stop. Do something about it if it's an issue. So yeah. So this has been CSGO Deeper, sponsored by Aperture PC. It's been myself, Xstreams, and Profeci, and WeEatChips. Thanks for joining us, guys. Again, just to reiterate, if you want to be in a frag movie by WeEatChips, get in touch with him on social media. Tweet at him. He takes submissions. And
Our
of
DMs
course,
are open. So
yeah, DMs are open, and tweet at him, send him that stuff. Check out his channel, drop a like there, drop a like here on this video, and of course, drop us a competition entry. Question again is, what is WeEatChips' most famous frag video, and what event was that video connected to? Tweet at Profeci and at Extremes with the hashtag CSGO Deeper your answer, and you could win. So thanks, guys. It's been great. Final words?
My final words are entity. There were 2 questions asked, my man. I've got the first one. We need the answer to the second. So, but yeah, otherwise, guys, thanks very much. It's been pretty fun. Maybe I'll submit some of my own terrible clips to WeEatChips someday, and we get a meme video.
I'll make a Profeci frag movie, maybe.
There's not just going to be a video. It's not going to be a frag video. It's going to be me dying repeatedly.
Oh, geez.
Maybe Profeci's enemies frag movie or something. I don't know. His opponents.
Cool. Final words, Mr. Chips?
I should have been more prepared for that. Good luck, have fun, I guess. Stay playing and don't ever stop playing CS.
Love it. Good.
Yeah.
So this has been CSGO Deeper, sponsored by Aperture PC. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Maybe we'll stream some CS after this. We'll have a chat now and see whether we do that. Probably. So have a look out to the channel and look out for the costs coming in later in the week. And of course, enter the competition. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thanks out.